Hello everyone, so today we're going to be taking another look at Tron Lestron for two reasons. First of all, I've upgraded it to make it a lot more functional, and second, even though I'm not currently at this rank, about 2 seasons ago I actually finally hit Diamond, and most of it was because of this deck. Basically, after I got done with my weekly rewards and my daily rewards, I would just play Tron Lestron the entire time. So let's go ahead and take a look at how Tron Lestron looks in comparison to the last time I uploaded a video of it, and we'll discuss some of the things that are different, and ultimately why this works better. It is worth mentioning that part of the reason why it's this way is because a couple of sets came out since the first time that I played that deck, or one set came out since the first time I played the deck that introduced a card that was better. But we'll get there. First of all, in my 1-drop slot, I completely dropped Fountain. It just wasn't doing enough for me. It probably would have been good if that card that allows you to give everything improvise was available, but without it, it's kind of a useless 1-drop. I mean, the life gain is semi-relevant, but not as relevant as it could be. So now our 1-drops include 1 Bag of Holding, which says whenever you discard a card, you exile the card from your graveyard. You can tap it and pay 2 to draw a card and then discard a card. And then you can tap 4 and tap it and return all cards exiled with Bag of Holding to their hand. So this is good when you're going against decks that are known for picking apart your hand or forcing you to discard, things like that. And it allows you to hold your win cons until later, or just remove stuff from your hand that you don't need, depending on the way that you're using it at the time. Next, we still have Manifold Key, but we only have 2 copies. I have contemplated going up a couple copies, but I just don't know exactly what I would cut. In the 2-drop slot, we have Maze Mine Tome, which also allows you to draw cards, but you can only do it 4 times before it goes away. You gain 4 life when that happens, though. We still have 4 copies of Mind Stone, because this is an essential part of the deck. If you didn't see the original build, this just adds mana, or you can sacrifice, for 1, or you can sacrifice it to draw a card. Still at 2 copies of Foundry Inspector. I think we might have had 3 originally, but ultimately, all this does is it makes our artifacts cheaper, and that's not always important. As a matter of fact, if I was to make cuts, this probably would be it. 4 copies of Paladin Mirror still. It's a 2/2 for 3 that adds 2 colorless mana. Still 4 copies of Power Stone Shard. That should be pretty obvious. Still 4 copies of Hedron Archive. It's, like I said before, it's a double Mind Stone. Twice as much mana, produces twice as much mana, you draw twice as many cards. Now we're looking at something new. Forsaken Monument came out in Zendikar. It gives all colorless creatures you control +2/+2, which is rarely relevant, but it does make it to where Foundry Inspector and Paladin Mirror are something other than ramp. But it gives you additional colorless mana for every permanent that you tap for colorless, and you might note we have a lot of things to do that, and when you cast a colorless spell you gain 2 life. This is single-handedly the most important card in the deck, with the exception of the win cons themselves. So much to the point that I actually removed a copy of the next card that I added, Paradox Engine, which says whenever you cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you control, which could potentially put you in a solid loop where you're just tapping and then untapping and tapping and then untapping and tapping and then untapping. Realistically, though, I think Forsaken Monument is more important, and now that I think about it, we're going to go ahead and do a little experiment with an additional Forsaken Monument and 1 less Paradox Engine. Next, we still have Godfarrow's statue, but I went down to only 1 copy, just because all this really does is stall out your opponent. The 1 point of damage is still pretty irrelevant, because again, the win con is not to do damage in conventional ways, it's to force your opponent to quit when you cast Ugin. Or not Ugin, well, hold on. Speaking of Ugin, we still have 2 copies of Ugin the Inevitable, which makes Your colorless spells cost 2 less to cast, and creates onboard creatures, which again would be pumped up by Forsaken Monument. It also allows you to destroy target permanents. We got 2 copies of Meteor Golem, which is a 7-drop 3/3 and allows you to destroy target non-land permanent. This may not be the most relevant thing that we have, but sometimes target removal is useful, and the fact that it's easy to get in this deck is actually, pretty important. That said, it doesn't always get cast, so I don't know, I question its usability. I've still got Ugin the Spirit Dragon, and you might notice I have a little bit cooler art for it. I don't know what this is. His +2 does 3 damage to any target. His -X is exile each permanent with CMC X or less that's more than 1 colors. And that ability alone is usually enough to just basically end the game, because our opponent usually can't fight against it. And then the -10, which we pretty much never use, is gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and then put 7 permanents from your hand onto the battlefield, regardless of what they cost. The win con is Ulamog. It's an indestructible 10/10 for 10. When you cast it, you exile 2 permanents. And when it attacks, your target opponent exiles 20 cards of their library. As for the mana base, we have leveled it down to 2 blast zones, because I realized this actually damages my stuff as much as it does everyone else's. 4 copies of Buried Rune, because I've actually been using this a lot lately. I find that a lot of my artifacts end up in the graveyard, and sometimes it's not a bad idea to be able to recur them. 4 emergent zones. With the rise in the popularity of flash decks, I figured that the best way to handle flash is to go to end of turn, let our opponent cast whatever they want, and then flash out the Ugin. As a matter of fact, I just now played a game in which that was the strategy. I've actually gone up to 3 copies of Inventor Sphere, because it allows you to gain life whenever you have 3 or more artifacts, which is very helpful for stalling out into the late game. I still pretty much never use the search your library for an artifact, because it's just not really relevant often. I suppose if necessary I could use it to go get Forsaken Monument, but it's not likely I'm going to do that. Still got 4 Radiant Fountain, because 2 life. I went down to 2 copies of Reliquary Tarot, because it's pretty irrelevant as to whether or not we have a maximum hand size, as we almost always drain out our hand. And 4 copies of Sunscorched Desert. That 1 damage is almost always going towards players, but it is relevant with Planeswalkers. As a matter of fact, if you watch my first video on this, you'll see me take out a Planeswalker with that extra 1 bit of damage. So yeah, that's pretty much the more pro version of the build. So let's go ahead and play a couple of games. And so let's go ahead and play a couple of games and see how we do. Okay, so we have the Forsaken Monument, we have a ramp card, and then we have 3 lands, which makes this a fairly iffy keep, but I think our chances of getting other ramp are pretty high, so we'll go ahead and keep this. Alright, our opponent opens with something then just tapped, and we're going to start off with Radiant Fountain. The one downside with this deck is it usually becomes fairly obvious what our design is early on, and people are really good at picking up on that and trying really hard to put an end to it. That and this deck usually doesn't have a whole lot of great early game plays. So that card has flash. I don't know why he didn't just wait to do that. We'll go ahead and put down a Reliquary Tower and pass. See, this is one of those flash decks, or I'm pretty sure is a flash deck that's recently gotten pretty popular. We'll go ahead and do a blast zone, and then we're gonna try a power stone shard. And they let it through. Cool. So, with any luck, next turn we can try Forsaken Monument, although if I'm being entirely honest, depending on the way that their board develops... Oh, this might be Merfolk. Okay. I think the safe thing is to wait on the Forsaken Monument. Yeah. What instead I'm going to do is just play the Mind Stone and pass here. Because I really want that Forsaken Monument to hit. So I think... Yeah, Merchant Zone sacks for 1. So I'd rather end of turn play it. So I don't have any risk of it getting counterspelled. Or I have less of a risk of it getting counterspelled. Alternatively, I might just try pushing Ugin because that makes it easier to cast stuff as well. Okay, they foretold something, which is interesting. Alright, they're swinging. As you do. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put down a Sunscorched Desert, do 1 damage to them. And we have 7 mana at our disposal. Let's see. We can try to be upfront about the way that we play, or we can try to be sneaky about it. You know what? If they do have a counterspell, we need to bait it out. So we'll actually go ahead and cast the Ugin. Because if they counter that, we do have another one in hand. Okay. That's weird, but we can use it to block their Mistbinder. That was an interesting way to prevent that, I will say. Okay. Well, that sucks. No, Coco. Oh, and they whiffed on it. That's awesome. For us. Okay. We'll go ahead and put down this Buried Ruin. Alright, so we can cast whatever we want this turn, and I think the best choice is still going to be Ugin the Ineffable. As much as I would love to hit with that Forsaken Monument, we need removal at the moment. Following up the Hedron Archive, because obviously, and then, yeah, we'll just go ahead and get rid of the Merfolk Trickster. Just because I know that thing pumps on flash. At least I'm pretty sure it does. Never mind. Probably would have been fine to get rid of the Mistbinder, but whatever. There's a chance he'll go in and attack the Ugin. Hard to tell, though. Okay, cast Kamina Speaker. Yep, he's going in for the Ugin. That's perfectly fine, though. Alright, we'll go ahead and try our cast on the Forsaken Monument. hits. Go with the Maze Mind Tomb. Of course, we're getting some life from it. The only issue I have right now is we haven't even come close to hitting our win con yet. And we have no defenses left. So it's going to take a bit of luck to reach the end here. Alright, Foundry Inspector is something, I guess. Okay. So they're down to one card left in hand, and we're still pumping. I'd hate for that last mana to go to waste, so I think at this point it's perfectly safe to sacrifice the Mind Stone, because we already have plenty of ramp, and the fact that Forsaken Monument makes all of our lands tap for 2. And I have a feeling if we don't hit what we need in the first 2 draws off of a Maze Mind Tomb, we will sacrifice the Hedron Archive into no additional tiers. Alright, cool. Power Stone Shard. That's something else that's actually helpful. So we'll go ahead and put that down first. I probably should have clarified with the game that I did not want it to tap my Hedron Archive. Alright, draw a card. No, I don't want that. What do I have in my grave? Ugin, Foundry Inspector, and Mind Stone. So we will go ahead and sacrifice the Buried Ruin, get back the Mind Stone. Tap the Shard. Cast the Mind Stone. I have nothing else in getting life off of it. We will sacrifice the Mind Stone again. The Hedron Archive. Okay. Go ahead and cast the Hedron Archive. Sacrifice the Hedron Archive. And cast God Pharaoh Statue. I didn't see a whole lot of point in casting the Meteor Golem, when I think it's a lot better to just tax them. Let's see what we get next. So we'll go ahead and hit the Power Stone Shard. Cast Paladin Mirror. Tap this to draw with the Maze Mind Tome. Another Forsaken Monument. It's not really necessary, but why not? It's kind of funny. If nothing else, it'll pretty much make us impossible to defeat. Oh, but you know what? It is a legendary artifact. Probably should have paid attention to that. We'll sacrifice the Fusion Archive. Put down the Inventor's Fair because the Life Gene is relevant. Tap the Inventor's Fair, put down the Mind Stone. Sacrifice the Mind Stone to draw a card. And I guess cast the Meteor Golem because there's nothing else to do after that. Get rid of that Merfolk Mistbinder so they can no longer pump their stuff. We may have the potential to win in the goofiest way possible. Alright, they're going to Coco again. This time they didn't whiff. But we still have blockers and life gain. Well, I guess we just keep bullying them down. Sunscorched Desert to start with. Do 1 point of damage. Let's go ahead and try to get another draw off of the Mazemind Tome. Paladin Mirror. Paladin Mirror. Goofy as it may seem, I think we're gonna sack the Inventor's Fair. I'm contemplating between... I think the correct answer here is get the Bag of Holding, because it gives us a repeatable draw option. Discard the Reliquary Tower. We can't cast Ulamog at this point anyway, so we'll go ahead and put down the Hidden Archive. I guess we'll sacrifice it. Wow, still nothing. But we do have the ability to shut down any of their attacks. And we're at 30 life, so even if we wanted to just not do that, we could. I mean, I think this game's pretty well in the bag, but it's just a matter of actually winning. So I tapped on the Meteor Golem. Alright. Let's get this show on the road. At this point, I don't think Foundry Inspector is necessary, so we'll go ahead and start by drawing and discarding. That's not our win con, so we'll go ahead and put Foundry Inspector down. We will tap Power Stone Shard in order to play a Paladin Mirror. We will tap the Power Stone Shard in order to play another Paladin Mirror. We will play a Mind Stone. We will sacrifice a Mind Stone. Okay, Manifold Key is relevant at the moment. We will use Manifold Key to untap the Bag of Holding, and then use the Bag of Holding to draw and pitch. Really? Alright, so we'll go ahead and put that down. Then we will cast, or put down the Buried Ruin, sacrifice the Buried Ruin, go get a Hedron Archive, cast the Hedron Archive, and end the turn. I cannot believe that we have yet to get our Ugin. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and attack. Okay, we'll just win that way. I think that's actually the first time in my life, and all the time since I've had this deck, and I've been playing this deck a lot, that I won via traditional damage, and not by forcing my opponent to GG on an Ugin cast, or an Ulamog, or something else nefarious. It's fantastic. It took forever though. It's whatever. It's fine. I gotta build a Coco deck one of these days. Okay, this is not gonna fly. This isn't better. I hate mulling to 5, I really do. But they did take 2 themselves, so I will as well. Okay, this is doable. I really gotta keep my ramp options. But which ones? Honestly, Paladin Mirror and Hedron Archive will get me to Ugin faster, so I think we just put the Mind Stone back. No, I gotta pick 2. Okay, so Mind Stone. And actually, this might be the wrong way to go about it. I think we need more consistent ramp options, so I want to be kind of weird here and put back an Emergent Zone and an Ugin. Because with Inventor Sphere, and if I get all 3 of those down, I can start gaining life in order to mitigate loss. Also, our opponent's down to 4 cards, so we're both making interesting choices today. Alright, we will go ahead and put down a Buried Ruin, followed by a Mind Stone. Followed by a Bag of Holding. Okay. They didn't really do anything. I'm going to put down another Inventor's Fair. Oops. Whoopsie. Note to self, keep in mind the concept of legendary permanence, which is why you probably didn't need to make another one. Alright, Paladin Mirror it is. I think they're scoping it out, trying to figure out what I'm doing. Wise choice. Take away the gun and give me a sword. Alright, I think I'm going to put down the Maze Mine team because then I have 2 sources of draw. Which I think is going to be the key key thing to get me ahead on this game. Assuming I have any chance of doing so. Alright, let's go ahead and start with draw off of Mazemind Tome. Put down a fountain. And then we're going to go ahead and draw off a Bag of Holding. I think we'll put back the Paladin Mirror. Might be a weird choice to some, but I really want the Manifold Key so I can untap my draw sources. And mana sources. So we'll just go ahead and end the turn there. Well, actually, we'll attack first. So let's see what our opponent's got going on. Oh, foretelling some stuff. As it was foretold by the prophecy. Alright, we get the Ineffable. That's cast worthy. So we're specifically going to hit the Hedron Archive. And then all of, well, actually, where we get the sources from after that doesn't matter. Alright, now we will use the Manifold Key to untap the Hedron Archive. And then we will draw off of Mazemind Tome. Hey, there we go. That's something useful. And then we will go ahead and plus the Ugin. Attack. And end the turn. If Ugin survives, that Forsaken Monument's pretty much going to propel us to the moon. Okay, well, Ugin didn't survive. However, they are tapped out to the point that they can't prevent me from casting Forsaken Monument, so that's still a win in my book. We'll do damage to them. And we will specifically tap the Hedron Archive for mana, and then put down the Forsaken Monument. We will use the Manifold Key to untap the Hedron Archive. And then we will draw off of Mazemind Tome. Not helpful. And then we will draw off of the Bag of Holding. Also not helpful. Buried Ruin's better though. Next, I'll attack. Doomscar. I'm actually fine with that. I don't really care about losing those. Plus, I'm still netting mana constantly. Alright, we'll start by tapping the Hedron Archive to play a Power Stone. We will tap the... I'm gonna put down a Buried Ruin. And we'll pretty much tap whatever in order to get Hedron Archive out. Tap the Power Stone, use part of that Power Stone to untap the Hedron Archive. Draw from Mazemind. Okay. Cast the Power Stone Shard, why not? Let's just go nuts, why don't we? And then we will draw from the Bag of Holding, which does force us to discard it, but whatever. At this point, I'm going to end the turn, but if I have to, I'm going to sacrifice the Hedron Archive on their upkeep. Or on the in-between. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I already have plenty of rap from the Power Stone shards. And assistance from other sources. So we will go ahead and put down Radiant Fountain. And then tap Power Stone Shard. Let's play a Manifold Key. Once again, I'm just kind of propelling myself into unkillability, as well as drawing this out to annoying lengths. Alright, we're going to tap this Power Stone Shard and untap Power Stone Shard. And then we will tap this Manifold Key to untap another Power Stone Shard. Alright, now we are going to start sacrificing things, such as Hedron Archive. Alright, that didn't work. How about... let's activate Bag of Folding real quick. Yeah, that didn't help. I'll go ahead and pitch this Foundry Inspector, though. The land's more useful than that thing. I think it's safe to say we could probably get rid of Foundry Inspector in this build. Alright, we'll go ahead and put down a Mind Stone. I'll still haven't drawn off of Maze Mind Tomb this turn. Ooh, let's really drive our opponent nuts. Oh, Power Stone Shard, Power Stone Shard, Paradox Engine. A never-ending turn, a turn or two. Oh, this is fantastic. And I still have the Buried Ruin to bring back some older stuff. Yeah, we gotta cast this first. Okay, yeah, that's fair. At least we know we can't use it on Ugin. Okay, I sacrificed the Buried Ruin. I think if we just stay on top of it, we're gonna win no matter what this turn, just because we can continuously just cast everything. Alright, we got Ugin, so that helps. But I want Ulamog, so we're just gonna keep going until we get that outcome. Okay, no luck. So... cast Ugin. Hit the Ixalan's Binding, get my other Ugin back, literally just for the discount ability. Tap Maze Mind Tomb. Tap Bag of Holding. Discard Reliquary Tower. What mana options do I have right now? I only have a Power Stone Shard left. I think that's the end of my turn. After all that, we're done. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna untap the Maze Mind Tome and then draw off of it because I just realized I didn't do that last turn. Okay, so we gained a little bit of life. I'm certain that was really useful. Okay. There we go. So we're gonna exile his white source lands. And he quit. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens. Alright. Well, we're back to Platinum Tier 4. Those were some extremely long games, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. But yeah, I'm certain you can see this deck is hilariously long and annoying, and it makes playing very unfun for the suckers who have to play against me. But thanks for watching, and have a great rest of the day.